Yeah, I think no matter what, the AI infrastructure has to support the business, no matter the efficiency, right? Even if you have a very efficient system from an infrastructure perspective, but it doesn't support the business, then you're really not really helping yourself. I think the way we actually talk to our customers is that one, they have to understand their business and then come up with a use case that works for them, and then provide an efficient solution that also is very adaptive, changes or moves so much quicker than traditionally workloads, such that it's measure, fix, and measure again, right? That's really the whole goal. If you're at 11% today, maybe that's not great, but at least make it such that tomorrow you're improving that 11%. And I think that's the other thing where I'm seeing is that people are not looking at improving. They're just making the situation much more difficult by adding more hardware to the equation.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point because you can really compound the problem by continuing to deploy more and more. If you're not, and this is the same with, kind of almost anything, if you're not, managing what you have well already, then adding more, I guess in a way, it seems to solve the problem, but it doesn't necessarily really solve it. In fact, it doesn't really solve it. And it makes it worse because then you just have more to not manage properly and to try to justify. And I guess you also, I want to get back to a point that Frederic made at the very beginning, which is sort of this, let's call it a CYA factor of folks who have purchased more and more and more hardware that is being poorly utilized. You're digging yourself into a hole there because, there's a big difference between saying, I bought this one thing and I'm not using it well or effectively, and I need another thing, to I bought these 100 things or 1,000 things or millions of dollars worth of things and I'm not using any of them effectively, but yet I don't know that people have that in them to really address the root of the issue. Do you think?
Well, I think you end up like XAI if that happens, and you find some startup that wants to rent out your equipment to do their work. So that's a way to go with it.
Yeah. Well, that was the origin story for example, for AWS. I mean, they were trying to build a flexible and scalable cloud platform, and Andy Jassy realized that what they were building could be useful by other people, and also that it could help them offset the cost of the investment they were making. And so they said, "Let's do it." Is that practical? Is that something that could happen where a company could end up becoming a service provider instead of just using the stuff themselves?
Yeah, I think that's what the neo clouds in my book are trying to achieve, right? Is to provide you an ecosystem. And they're saying, I mean, just it's the concept of AWS, but then more specifically for AI and workflows, basically saying, hey, we have a complete stack for you and it's multi-tenant. So, you know, consume as much as you can. And if you don't consume it, somebody else will consume it. At least that's what I'm seeing now, certainly with the supply chain issues where a lot of people go into the neo clouds and kind of do what they used to do with the AWS to more traditional workloads many years ago.
I wonder if there's an opportunity for software there as well. I mean, there's certainly a lot of companies that are working on AI compute platforms for enterprise use. I wonder if there would be a potential for a compute platform that also allows others to use your hardware, or if that would even be desirable. I don't know.